Look how presentable this is. Oh my God, this presents so fucking good, man. This gets like, you know, when they do this instead of clap, when she presents, it's like fucking ka, 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 ka. You know, we move to shit that makes no sense and doesn't matter at all. And that's libs infighting, baby. Libs do be infighting, baby. Sorry, I get excited about libs infighting. And no, this is not some Destiny shit. This is like higher level libs. Even though I've always been a fan of Jon Stewart, especially as a younger person, it's still interesting to see what the fuck is going on. I have no idea. I have no context. Let's see lib infighting, shall we?
We could not resist covering some of the continued fallout over Jon Stewart's return on Monday night in what was, you know, very solid performance. But ultimately, the hilarious thing about the jokes that Jon Stewart made is that
the male co-host here looks like the amalgamation, whatever term was it, amalgamation of every single bro of mine that's constantly getting friend-zoned, put in a person and grown up to a point where they have actually a stable job and look okay. But you can see behind the glasses, the slick haircut, the suit, it's like a guy that was very commonly friend-zoned. I don't know why. Yeah.
all of it is really widely accepted by the American. I mean,
it's obvious.
It is not controversial to say that Joe Biden is old and that people are concerned about it. And yet, you know, liberals are acting like the sky is falling and Jon Stewart is some, like, you know, absolute threat to democracy on the level of Vladimir Putin now at this point. So first we have to turn to our friends over at The View for their trenchant analysis of Jon Stewart and the threat that he represents to the country. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
You have, on the one hand, you've got a guy, Biden.
Chat, send me a link on what he actually said.
A few moments later.
9 months till the election, people! And the exciting part is we already know our candidates. It's, drum roll please, these guys.
Comedian Jon Stewart returned to The Daily Show last night, taking aim at both Biden and Trump's age, as well as Biden's first TikTok.
How do you go on TikTok and end up looking older? Biden's lost the step, but Trump regularly says things at rallies that would warrant a wellness check.
All I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets.
We're not suggesting neither man is vibrant.
Fuck, like, oh my, like, I have, like, is it bad for me to say, like, this, fuck Trump, but God have I missed him. Man, American politics is so much more digestible now.
Productive, or even capable. But they're both stretching the limits of being able to handle the toughest job in the world. What's crazy is thinking that we're the ones, as voters, who must silence concerns and criticisms. The next 9 months or so, and maybe more than that. Based.
Hey, maybe we should voice more of our opinions and actually say that we're not gonna vote for them unless they, I don't know, stop fucking murdering kids. Criticizing political leaders do be against democracy, eh?
Depending on the coup schedule, they're gonna suck. You're gonna get inundated with robocalls and push polls and real polls, and people are gonna tell you to rock the vote and be the vote and vote the vote and finger bang the vote. And it's all going to make you feel like Tuesday, November 5th is the only day that matters. And that day does matter. But man, November 6th ain't nothing to sneeze at, or November 7th. If your guy loses, bad things might happen, but the country is not over. And if your guy wins, the country is in no way saved.
We do be dropping the red pill. John do be dropping the red pill, but now apparently everybody loses their mind. Let's see libs libbing at libs. Oh, I love libs.
Represents the country. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
You have, on the one hand, you've got a guy, Biden, how old is he, 81?
81.
And so he stammers. He's had a stammer all his life. I think that's part of the reason he sometimes looks a little doddering. He's trying to get the words out. The guy has accomplished a lot. I don't want to repeat all the things he's done for Americans already. On the other hand, you basically have a 77-year-old criminal who only cares about getting out of jail.
A difference between age and vitality. There's a difference between age and really being.
Gaza under Biden.
Up on things.
Gaza under Trump. America under Biden.
And having that quickness, that of wit.
America under Trump. America under Biden. America under Trump.
That Joy has. Let me just tell you that Martha Stewart's 82. She's still cooking in front of people.
Yeah. She's selling kitty litter.
She's selling, exactly. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are getting it in. They've got babies in their 80s, okay? Jane Fonda, 86. Representative Maxine Waters, 85.
Yeah, Marokazm. Israel should defend itself. Trump, Israel should defend itself and kill more people. Absolutely. One is a bit worse, yeah. But, you know. From a non-American context, you know, I had two bullies when I was in second grade. One bullied me more than the other one, but they both fucking bullied me.
Bernie Sanders, 82. Nancy Pelosi, 83. I don't know. Chino or get to. She's still goodness between.
For Americans already. On the other hand, you basically have a 77-year-old criminal who only cares about getting out of jail.
A difference between age and vitality. There's a difference between age and really being up on things and having that quickness, that of wit that Joy has. Let me just tell you that Martha Stewart's 82. She's still cooking in front of people.
Yeah. She's selling kitty litter.
She's selling, exactly. Robert De Niro.
She was put on the spot to remember one old person, and she was like, Martha Stewart. You remember that TikTok trend? The TikTok trend where girlfriends would ask their boyfriends, say a woman's name, and then depending on what they say, you know, they either react intensely or they don't. So chat, say an old person's name. Old person's name, Martha Stewart. Like the old ones, like Martha Stewart. Oh. Imagine if she said Hillary Clinton. Man, they would murder her even harder than Jon Stewart, bro. Oh.
And Al Pacino are getting it in. They've got babies in their 80s, okay? Jane Fonda, 86. Representative Maxine Waters, 85. Bernie Sanders, 82. Nancy Pelosi, 83. I don't know. They look like they know what they're doing. They have the wisdom. They have the history. The problem with this country is that we don't value people with their wisdom. We don't value seniors. We don't value octogenarians. Okay, and I'm sick of this age as a problem.
I don't have a problem with Biden. I voted for Biden. I'm an anyone but Trump, but I was voting for Biden anyway. But I also am honest about the gaffes I see people concerned with, which I think you can have both things right now. And I think that voters are concerned, and by telling them they shouldn't be, or that they're following a Republican narrative by listening to it, you're literally saying, like, close your eyes to what you're seeing, or you're making them feel bad for raising something. And as Jon Stewart said in there, replace age with vitality. He showed stammering in different points with each candidate and said the only record they're breaking as the oldest one is the record they set 4 years ago. So it is a fair concern to say this. We ask people to keep their eyes open on January 6th. I don't think it's fair to tell them to close their eyes to what they're seeing.
Okay,
right
then don't close their eyes to the rest of the tape that Jon Stewart showed.
And then they go on to show the parts where he's showing Trump's forgetfulness, et cetera. And I mean, I just want to know, what is the market for this? Like, for this absolute delusional view? Joy's saying, oh, it's his stammer. He's stammered all his life. Yeah, that's why he looks... Are you kidding me? 86% of Americans say this man is too old. Yeah. A majority of Democrats say this man is too old. And you're acting like Jon Stewart is some, like, traitor to the cause because he acknowledged what is clearly apparent. And you know what? He did go on to say, like, you know, listen, it's a legitimate issue, especially because there is so much at stake with Trump on the ballot, too, and his, you know, potential criminal convictions and all of the indictments, et cetera. He even said that thing. So the panic over this and the cope over it and the complete, like, otherworldly bubble that they insist on inhabiting is just pretty incredible.
I remember the two of us.
Yeah, except for the beautiful lady at the end. I mean, they're all beautiful ladies, but the lady at the end, she also probably exists in her bubble. But damn, the other one's bubble is thick. They do not know what is going on, like 5 kilometers outside of their fucking Manhattan apartments, my friend. Oh my Lord Jesus.
Getting attacked for this back in 2019, whenever we would go after Biden there. This is when the stammer fakery began, because there was a whole Atlantic article was like, well, he's got a stutter. I'm like, yeah, so he has a stutter. Oh
my God, political candidates get made fun of because of this or that particular goofy thing they have. Libs never made fun of Trump for being orange and literally being built like a dump truck. No, not at all. Thank you, Slattersen, for the sub. Welcome to the community.
Miraculously had as a child, went away for his entire professional life, and then suddenly reappeared whenever he was old. Or he's just really freaking old, you know? And then to use that as a defense about why we're not supposed to attack him, ridiculous. One of my friends who actually has a stutter and now has spent a lot of time in speech therapy, put out a whole thread on this. He's like, this is deeply insulting to those of us who actually have stutters. It is debilitating, it can be really annoying, all these things that we've had to deal with for life. But Biden clearly is not suffering because of his stutter. Like, this is not something that is, this is not a result of the condition itself.
The reason this is a topic, the reason why we talk about it, is American presidents never really brought too much necessarily to the table, as no president does in a capitalist, quote-unquote, democracy. But what America has always been extremely proud of is that their president was presentable, okay? Look at how fucking presentable this guy is. He be presenting all the fucking PDFs, all the PPTs, he be presenting so hard, man. He do be so fucking presentable. Even this guy, look at just how presenting this dude be, man. Look how, like, man, this is so presentable. This is like, so fucking presentable, dude. Well, look how like he be throwing those slides out there, man. He be doing like the complex Canva PowerPoint presentations. That's how presentable he be, you know. But then it started going down a bit, you know. We started not being that representable, my brothers, you know, not that representable, you know, this ex-alcoholic, goofy-looking, you know, pretend short cowboy guy. We started going down. Then we got back with Obama and so on. And then we had a fight between like the most presentable white lady that has ever existed, okay? Fucking presentable as fuck. Look at just how much she presents, man. Look at that haircut. Look at that outfit. Look how presentable this is. Oh my God, this presents so fucking good, man. This gets like, you know, when they do this instead of clap, when she presents, it's like fucking ka, 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 ka. You know, super presentable. But unfortunately, this guy, I mean, not very presentable. Look, he makes the faces. He looks like the orange. He funny man. He point. He said China strange. He says Lenin. And then we have the other guy. Not very presentable. Okay, not very presentable. Probably scrubbed this. No, they didn't. Then we have this guy, you know, and that doesn't really, you know, he goes through slide 1, slide 2, then he's like, oh, what was I talking about? He goes back to slide 2. Not very presentable. America needs presentable presidents. And that is what leads to this entire fucking conversation. They don't give a fuck. About what they actually do, as long as they think that the rest of the world sees them and says, man, they do be really representable over there in the represent country. So yeah, that's why this triggers so many motherfuckers, okay? They do be represented. Though in a very metaphoric way, that both of them are kind of a great like allegory for the current and future state of the United States of America.
It is driven entirely by age. And that is obvious to anyone with a brain. Realistically, what this is that it's just about political correctness.
Yeah, exactly what Exovledge said. I say they represent well the state of their country. Absolutely. Their country implies is not American. I already like you. Who's that orange? Lenin! Wait, some in chat don't know what I'm talking about when I'm screaming Lenin, okay?
You know, Lenin, did anyone ever hear of Lenin? He said, the vote counter is far more important than the candidate.
It's like Lenin sounds like, there's no picture of this, but like sassy Lenin. If there was like a sassy, cute Lenin, that would be it. Like a little anime girl, but Lenin. We would call it Lenin.
Creating and opening the space such that we are not allowed to discuss this at all, even in the context of humor. But that's why Stewart's, frankly, anodyne observation that all of us see is funny, because we know that he's one of the only people who can say it in that type of space, which is then what invites the crackdown, the criticism. I mean, Crystal, you found this, but here we've...
This is literally 1984. The libs are eating their children.
got freaking Mary Trump, who is the resistance, what is it, a niece? Is that who she is?
think that's right.
Niece of Donald Trump?
Something like that.
She wrote a book, you know, all this, why Trump is a threat, and all of that.
Big
to democracy.
MSNBC fan
Big
fave.
MSNBC fan favorite. I'm sure the boomer grandmas out there all know who she is. But now she's saying, you know, that Donald Trump is, that Jon Stewart is responsible, it seems, for Trump's election.
Yeah, this is incredible. Put this up on the screen. So she has a Substack, apparently, wrote a whole piece about how Jon Stewart is a potential disaster for democracy.
Fucking give me this fucking... We are reading this, chat. Oh my God, I love this. Okay, so, what should be my lib voice? Very sophisticated man. Wait, yes, indeed. We are engaging in true politics here. Welcome to yet another episode of Yugopnik. Not only is Stewart's both sides are the same rhetoric not funny, it's a potential disaster for democracy. I, Mary L. Trump, not to be confused with the orange man Trump, have thoughts. I know Donald and the media has to stop with the both sides bullshit. I can't put all my thoughts about this on Twitter, so I wrote a free newsletter. Oh my God, a free newsletter about it. Tonight, I'm just 474 away from 166,000 subs. Now, this is how you plug. This motherfucker has 166,000 subs, and we're still struggling to get to 1K. Oh my God, the Trumps do be winning in this country. We continue being serious. Oh no, I gotta stop to this shit. Oh no, baby, no. I'm not giving my money to that. As this guy said, this is my react. Okay,
I did read this piece, guys. I couldn't resist, and I'll share with you a little excerpt here. She says, not only is Stewart's both sides are the same rhetoric not funny, it's a potential disaster for democracy. Stewart, a DC rally joke which inspired an entire generation to shrug off politics and ignore the dangers of the right wing cannot be overstated. The damage done by his rally to restore sanity, a DC rally joke which inspired an entire generation to shrug off politics and ignore the dangers of the right wing cannot be overstated. It was in no small part responsible for helping Donald come to power. This rally, we're looking at, is it 2010 or 2011?
It was 2010, October of 2010. I was there, by the way.
Thank you, 12 Mouth, continuing to be the big G up in this G for the gifted sub. Thank you.
October of 2000, a rally that he...
And 12 Mouth is really like milking it. He keeps making fun of me in chat all the time, and I'm a very self-conscious individual. So I react and I shrug it off here, but then I go and I cry in my bed every time. 12 Mouth is a rich bully. That is what you are, 12 Mouth. I'm kidding. I love you. Mwah, the goat. Mwah.
He did in October of 2010 is apparently in no small part responsible for helping Donald Trump come to power, and he now represents a potential disaster for democracy because he dared to say what is plainly obvious to anyone with a functioning brain. 86% of Americans looking at this man and saying, you know what, I'm not sure about another 4 years. And you know what it is really, Sagar? It is this...
He's not representative enough!
Cult-like denial of reality that is mirrored on the right. I mean, they are like two sides of the same coin at this point. It's like anything I have to say, any inconvenient fact or reality that I have to deny in order to avoid giving the other side some talking point, I am going to do it, and I'm going to attack anyone who doesn't follow the rules of the game of just complete denial of the...
That would be okay if the sides were fucking, different enough, okay?
Obvious realities in front of our face.
Generational poll about this. Party identification of the United States in 2022 by generation. Independent. Gen Z is mostly independent. I mean, all of them mostly are independent, Democrat, Republican. I mean, we do not really see a great gap between independent here, but we do see a jump for Democrat support over in Gen Z. But we most likely will see a continued independent growth because fucking people actually want some actual change, or maybe not even change, maybe not having to pay $10,000 to give birth to a fucking child, or sending money to kill fucking human beings halfway across the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally...
very complex, very, very debatable conversation.
And it also just gets back to the idea that you're not allowed to criticize people within your own side. And I think it really is insulting to people. There are a lot of people who think that Biden is too old and are going to vote for him. You know why? Because they hate Trump. Now, you can make fun of them. We can certainly discuss it here if you want. But you cannot criticize that because people are informed enough to discuss it, to rationalize it in their head, and to make the choice that they feel best.
But
You could do it vice versa. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna, here's the other thing, is you could have had an open Democratic primary process so that people weren't having to go like, oh my God, is this man gonna drop dead before we even get to election day? If you thought Donald Trump, and you think Donald Trump is such a threat to democracy, and I personally do not want to see Donald Trump back in the White House, you could have opened up the process so people had other alternatives of candidates who aren't in their 80s, of candidates who are able to formulate a sentence, of candidates who don't routinely tell stories about foreign leaders who died 20 years ago, okay? 30 years ago.
Mitterrand.
You could have.
Who's dead.
You could have done. So the people to blame are the DNC and the Democratic Party establishment who decided they wanted to have an anointment of King Biden rather than.
Yeah, they literally blocked challengers in the Dem Party, Ozura. It's all the way back from 2016 and Bernie Sanders, who was actually an introduction of some fresh air in this fucking giant clusterfuck which is American politics. But no. We both want to preserve the most basic primary candidates, and we don't want them to make fun of just how basic our primary candidates are. We are not schizophrenic at all, the Dem Party.
Actually give voters a choice so that you had a better shot come November. Because the truth of the matter is, if you had a run-of-the-mill, Dean Phillips-style generic Democrat, they would be in a much, much, much better position to win come November. And that was another thing that stuck out in that RFK Jr. focus group is the people who had said, we voted for Biden and we're not voting for him this time. They were asked, okay, is this about Biden or is it about the Democratic Party? No, it's about Biden.
I don't know if anybody heard that, but damn, I ripped a thick one right now.
It's about Biden.
It's about Biden.
Like a very thick one right now.
Point.
And so all of the celebrations around the special election results, like what just happened in New York 3, where people are saying, good, thank goodness, I think we're going to be fine, et cetera, that was for like a generic Democrat. It may be a very different story when people are actually considering the person of Joe Biden. And it wasn't Jon Stewart who created these freaking dynamics, Mary Trump and Joy and whoever else at The View. It was the Democratic Party that forced the public into this horrific choice of, it's Joe Biden, and that's the only option on the Democratic side.
And so many of the electoral body, which again only care about just how presentable it is. So many of them voted for Biden because he is more presentable than Trump. But then during the last 4 years, he was not very presentable. So you're losing all the people who vote on the basis of how presentable they are. So to an extent, this lib infighting is stupid, but it also has a point because so many people in America vote based on how representable a particular candidate is. And a very big driving force in why Biden won is because he was perceived as being more presentable than the other guy, but he's no longer seen as more presentable. He's seen as equally presentable. So in the presentonomics in which we are participating right now, it might actually impact his chances of winning because of the discrepancy in presentableness. Yes, I just said presentableness. Go fuck yourself. I have a Twitch channel and I say what the English language is. You do not. Okay, I love you.
Yeah, no, it's totally crazy, especially with the way that you have the media that then enforces within this. You see why they get away with it. And when the vast majority of these Democrats trust the media, I'm talking about the Democratic base, it's very, very difficult to have an open and a real conversation.
But isn't it so funny that the entire party, they can't actually find somebody who's a bit more presentable than this fucking guy? I mean, the other ones do not really care about being presentable. Zizek had a good book about actions of fucked up nationalists back in Arbakan War, and they, would LARP about culture and tradition and how they want to go back to, the true way of life that they enjoyed before the atheistic communists came and fucked us up. But they all deep down inside what they wanted is war so that they can do absolutely the most deranged, disgusting, fucked up shit that they can think of. So in a similar manner, that's kind of what the conservative public at the end of the day really is. They want to LARP tradition. They want to LARP being quote-unquote presentable, but deep down inside, they just want to create a thick layer behind which they can do the most deranged shit that's deranged, even from their perspective of what is supposed to be defined as normal in the society in which they exist in, or not, right? So they don't care about being representable as much. But the lib needs to lie to himself that he's a good person. A conservative only presents that he's a good person, but deep down, man, they fucking know they're cunts, okay? The lib hasn't achieved cunt consciousness yet. He's not cunt conscious of his cuntiness, so he wants to pretend that he's not a cunt. And that's Yugopnik analysis of the difference between the lib and the conservative. At least the conservative has the balls to admit to his cuntiness. The other one does not. That is why he needs a thick layer of presentableness in front of him to lie to him that his country is actually doing okay.
It's just genuinely a tragedy, because if they do lose, or if he dies, imagine, what are we going to do? What is going to happen to this country? And it's an entirely foreseeable, predictable event that only, after a special counsel writes the obvious, are we even allowed to. And now they're trying to get the tapes of that conversation not to come out. Oh, that's another thing. We won't have time probably to cover. It's not a big enough story in itself. But you know how Biden said, how in the hell dare he ask me when my son died?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, for people familiar with the transcript, he never asked him, the special counsel. Biden brought up Bo's death, and then he couldn't remember when he died. And I'm sorry, I don't want...
Oh, I didn't know about this. What the? Oh my God, that is embarrassing.
Sound mean. I really don't. But you're gaslighting the whole country and forcing us to walk the plank with you, dude.
Yes.
Like, that's the problem.
And by the way, for the ladies at The View, I mean, did you ever even inform your audience that Joe Biden had opponents?
Yeah.
Did you have any of them on your show? So, I mean, you actually have direct culpability for the fact that this is the choice facing the American people at this point. So, don't put the blame on Jon Stewart for pointing out the absolute obvious. Do a little self-reflection about your role in enforcement for Joe Biden that led us to this place that the majority of Americans are disgusted to be in.
Absolutely.
I like this lady. Am I allowed to like this lady? Is this lady problematic? Yeah, probably half chat is going to call her a lib or whatever. But I kind of dig this lady. She's okay. I stand lady in pink. Yeah, she is a lib. She probably is a lib. Of course she's a fucking... But she's not as libs, okay? Well, yeah, she doesn't live behind the presentable wall. Okay. I mean, broken clocks, am I right? No, okay. No, okay. She's an acceptable lib somehow. Most of chat agrees. Well, okay. We looked at the representableness war that has hit the libs. Now let's look at the financial trouble that has hit the conservatives, and we shall do that through meta viewing, because I'm not about to watch like 10 different fucking Fox News and CNN videos, through the prism of